and welcome into the Remix. I'm Brianna Pitts. If you're looking for a fall date night, one restaurant in Boston has plenty of tasty autumn treats. Chris Tanaka talks to a chef from Forcella in the North End.
He's no stranger to the BZ studios, joined again by Chef Dan Pagano from Forcella in the North End. Thanks for being here, Chef.
Thanks for having us again.
You were here in May.
Yes,
with Brianna and Jordan talking about some fresh spring flavors and recipes. And here we are. Oh my gosh, the calendar's turned. It's fall, and all of these wonderful harvest dishes are what's on the plate right now. And you're going to share a couple with us, right?
I'd love to, absolutely.
Yeah, so what do we got first?
So we're going to start with a little seasonal burrata salad. We always have a burrata on the menu, but I do change it up seasonally.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with a nice, beautiful butternut squash puree here, which is very simple. It's just butternut squash that's roasted and then pureed with water and a little bit of salt. That's all you need.
Okay.
Keep it
beautiful
simple.
Color from that
beautiful bright
squash.
Color, you know, earthiness, sweetness.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down with a couple pieces of beautiful burrata. Now this is a dish that I recommend serving like room temperature or warm.
Okay.
These pears are Bosc pears, which are a firmer pear that benefit greatly from being cooked. So I've poached them in port wine, which is drawn a lot of sweetness out of and into the pear from the wine.
Yeah.
And then I've taken that liquid that I poached them in and reduced it down into a nice little syrup that we can then finish the salad with.
No kidding.
So we got a little bit of some seasonal microgreens here, a little artisanal mix. We'll go down with a little bit of olive oil on the cheese.
Yeah. If people want to poach pears at home, what's your recommendation?
So I would take maybe 3 or 4 pears, maybe a half a bottle of port wine, a little bit of salt, and you can throw a couple aromatics in there, maybe some thyme, bay leaf, cover it with aluminum foil, go in your oven, 350 degrees for maybe about an hour until they're soft, like fork tender. Take them out and cool them. And then you can reduce that liquid into this beautiful syrup, and you have this nice, sweet, earthy, bright flavors with a nice saltiness of the cheese.
You make it look so easy.
Really fantastic little seasonal salad. We'll finish it off with some pistachios, which is going to give you some nice crunch. Obviously, you can omit those if there's any allergy concerns. But there you go, a little.
So there you have
salad. That'll be a nice addition to anyone's table this fall.
You've got beautiful color, but you've also, with the pistachios, have beautiful contrast and textures as well.
Correct. I think textures are incredibly important in cooking, right?
Yeah.
It's a big part of the experience for eating food.
Amazing. That's beautiful. And you're also going to prepare a pasta for us as well.
I am. We're doing a matriciana, which is a classic dish from the area of Rome in Italy. So we're going to start with a little bit of guanciale. Which is a cured pork cheek.
Okay.
It's very similar in flavor and the style of curing to like a pancetta. So if you can't find guanciale in a local store, you can substitute pancetta in this dish.
Okay.
Now I've already pre-cooked down, rendered this guanciale, and I've left it in a bit of its own, the fat that rendered out of it. Now that's going to help. That's a lot of flavor, and that's going to help start bringing the dish together.
Okay.
We're going to go in with a little bit of garlic.
Beautifully, thinly sliced.
Sliced garlic.
Expertly sliced.
You got to do it.
Incredible.
We don't do it with a little razor blade like they do in the movies.
Sure.
But, so you can see we've got our garlic and our guanciale kind of coming together here.
Yeah.
Now, if you're making this at home, you can also deglaze with a little bit of white wine right now, which is an important part of this dish. What I've done is I've incorporated the white wine already into my tomato sauce, just to kind of streamline things a little bit and get the flavors in there. I'm going to go in with a little bit of chili flake here, which is going to give it a little bit of a kick. You can also use, traditionally it's just cracked black pepper, which that's up to taste if you want to do the black pepper, or kick it up a little notch with a little bit of the chili flake.
Yeah.
So as that kind of comes together, now we added the heat, the spicy aspect towards the beginning of the dish. Now when you do this, the rule of thumb is if you add heat in the beginning, you taste it at the end. If you add it at the end, you taste it in the beginning. So
on the palate.
On the palate.
Oh, fantastic! Learn something every day.
So now that
now
that that's kind of come together, we'll go in with our tomato sauce here.
Okay.
Nice pomodoro. And that's all gonna start coming together. You can smell those deep,
You
rich.
really can. This is incredible. Your Pomodoro, what's the secret to making it so brightly colored and the texture that looks?
So what I do
Perfect.
is I use a little bit of extra olive oil.
Okay.
I start with, let's say it's about a cup of olive oil to about a gallon of tomatoes.
Okay.
And I'll render some shallots and garlic very gently in that.
Yeah.
And then cook it down for a while once the tomatoes have been added. And then we puree it, and that olive oil is going to emulsify into the tomato sauce, which gives it this nice bright orange kind of creamy texture
It's
without
amazing
having to have
color.
dairy actually involved.
Yeah.
Now that we've added our fresh basil in there, we're gonna go in with our pasta, which I've already cooked ahead of time to al dente. This is a nice rigatoni here, which is how we serve it at the restaurant. All right, so now that's all coming together. We're gonna go in with a little bit of parsley.
Okay.
Now, this dish is traditionally finished with pecorino romano cheese, which I have forgotten to bring with me today. So we're doing the dairy-free version of this dish
that's
here,
okay.
which is an option at the restaurant that people go for all the time.
What people can't say are 2 gigantic buckets off stage with all of your stuff. So it's an easy oversight. And no one's going to hold it against you.
All right, I appreciate that. I won't
Forcella.
forget it at the restaurant. We always have cheese.
Well, look, it's reservations are recommended. It's a beautiful spot, literally 2 doors down from the Revere House.
That's right.
And the menu you have there, what's your inspiration beyond obviously being located in the heart of the North End?
So we focus mostly on Southern Italian cuisine.
Okay.
So not indicative of the dish I've made here. We're not a very red sauce heavy restaurant.
Sure.
We go with a lot lighter fare, a lot more seafood, especially in the summertime. We're shifting a little bit more towards vegetables and proteins now as the weather gets colder.
Yeah.
But we still have plenty of seafood options.
Fantastic. All right, this is incredible.
We'll finish it off with a little fresh parsley garnish.
There's a lonely little fork over there, Chef.
There is. I brought that for you.
Fantastic. So you mind if I take a
Not at
a
all.
little taste?
Please.
All right, fantastic. You know what? I'm just going to swoop around here and take the plate. Apologies on hold. I mean, look at this. It is beautiful. And the garnish is fantastic. All right. I can't believe I get to do this.
Good?
Yeah, absolutely. We usually share these dishes in the newsroom, but I think I'll just take this for myself.
All right.
Wow. Oh, Chef, delicious. That was just impeccable. Chef Dan Pagano from Forcella, thank you so much for coming back into the BZ studios.
Thanks
Get down
for
to
having me again.
Forcella. Yeah, incredible.
It is described as a paper portal that transports your mind, your senses, and your spirit. Joining us now are the founders of Artypants Magazine. We have Marianne Gibbons and Chandler Kay. Thank you, ladies, for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
We're excited to have you. You say that Artypants is inspired by the magazine stacks of your past. Why did you want to bring back something that is tangible, like a magazine?
Well, I remember being in a coffee shop, and there was this lag between my coffee being ready, and everyone was just standing there on their phones. And I was like, if we had a magazine, I wouldn't be scrolling mindlessly. So I envisioned a bright yellow magazine. And I've wanted to reinvigorate print and have a reason to not stare at my phone. So the magazine highlights New England artists. And when I had this vision, I thought of a designer that I really admired, loved her work, and so I reached out to Chandler to see if she could support me in branding the project.
Okay, so that's how Artypants was born, the two of you joining forces. It is really cool to hold something in your hands and to feel it. And like you said, we're so used to holding the phone, and it's even just different to like feel paper and hold paper, you know? You mentioned it's based on New England artists and creatives. For someone who has never heard of this, never opened it, what sort of things will people find when they flip through the pages?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go along. So it's a plethora of things. There's prompts, there's stories, there's art, there's different features, there's collages. So, we've done a good job, picking out artists and people that, fit a range. And it's not just art, it's not just story. So we wanted to have a mix that feels very natural and very cohesive, but also kind of eclectic too.
It is very eclectic, and you mentioned some of the prompts. As I read through, I can see ways for people to kind of be interactive with the magazine, which is really fun too.
Yeah, Yeah, we wanted to give people an opportunity to pause and really think about what they're reading and what they're doing, and just think about different ways that they can interact beyond just flipping page to page.
All right, so I want to get into the process of how you actually make this magazine, because I am sure that this is quite the undertaking. I understand it's printed locally here. You did bring a vision board, which I know we have some shots of and we'll show. So it looks like you just start with like the good old basics of a vision board.
Yeah, we're just like brainstorming, thinking about concepts. For issue 2, we created a theme to give the people that were applying some guidance, so summer places and whatever that meant to them. So there's a lot of imagery. I wanted this to be a gateway, safe for people who don't think that they can dip their toes in enjoying art, creating art, that it was just like a big welcome for people. So that's why the theme is summer places. And then from there, we meet. We have full-time jobs. We will meet on the weekends and just kind of go through the pages, the applications that are coming in. And so there's like that space between where it's real dreamy and then it gets really technical.
Right, with the printing aspect and getting this into stores. And we were saying, you know, people can get a magazine through you, but they can also go to some local shops as well.
Yes, you can go to artypantsmagazine.com. We're in 9 brick and mortars, hoping to increase our catchment to be all over New England. And the next theme we're releasing, so we're excited about that.
Right, yeah, so you've come on today, you're gonna share that with us. So like we mentioned, this issue I'm holding right here, this is called Summer Places, but you're kind of sharing what the next theme is and how people can get involved. So I'll let you tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So there were 45 different artists that were featured in that. So the page, the physical feeling of is very deliberate. So we were really considering how this feels in your hands, the paperweight, the embossing on the cover. The next one's going to be 68 pages in length. In order to fund the printing process, we are seeking different ad partners that can support this mission of invigorating the arts. And the next theme is Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. Okay, so tell us more about Labyrinth. What kind of are you trying to invoke with that theme?
Yeah, so it means a couple of different things, and when we were thinking about this and brainstorming, we had a lot of ideas of, you know, exploration, and, you know, when you are going into the season of winter and coming out of spring, you're going inward and you're doing a lot of self-exploration and just, you know, kind of unfolding and trying to figure out what you're going to be for the new year.
Yeah.
So a lot of what inspired us was, you know, different staircases, spirals, just from a visual perspective, tunnels,
keys, mirrors.
Keys. Yeah, so a little bit mystical, but it's exciting. We're still figuring out all the details, but we're excited to get into it.
That is so cool. Okay, so how can people get involved? Because I know you want to kind of call on more artists to submit for this, right?
Yeah.
So starting Saturday, you can apply on artypantsmagazine.com. There's a place to kind of see the framework, what kind of submissions we're looking for, where we welcome all mediums that we can display in print. So whether it be poetry, stories, photography, painting, and go to the website, apply. And also, if you're interested in kind of flexing your editorial, maybe you're a really good copywriter, maybe you want to edit, we do want to mobilize community to become involved. We're a very lean team, and if it's a right match, we would love to hear from you.
Final question for you ladies. What do you want people to take away? Physically, you want them to take one of these away too, right?
Yeah.
What do you want them to take away? I guess, you know, you're talking about like this touches your spirit, your senses. What do you want people to take away from this magazine?
I think for me personally with the magazine, being that I do work in the digital design space, everything is on the screen, everything's very flat, but it just feels so nice to have something physical and tangible, and just remembering to take a moment to pause and to actually read and just have your undivided attention. I think that's something a lot of us have lost. You know, we're so distracted and trying to do 5 things at once or more than that.
Totally. We're always multitasking. This kind of forces you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about scrolling, maybe pick up a book, Artypants, and I want to democratize the enjoyment and creation of art. Like we're all creative. We can all put on our Artypants.
I love that. Yes, we can all wear a pair of Artypants. All right, Marianne Gibbons, Chandler Kay, thank you so much for coming in and sharing the inspiration behind this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
When we come back on the ReMix, last-minute Halloween costumes for your kids, the moving company that's offering some boxed and creative solutions. Well, Halloween is just days away now, and we wanted to help you if you're struggling with a last-minute costume for your kids. So joining us here, we have the marketing director from Two Men in a Truck, Charlene Bush. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
This is really fun. So first, tell us about your organization, which is actually a moving company.
It is actually a moving company. So we are one of the largest franchise moving companies. We started in Michigan in the mid-1980s, and it really was two men and one truck.
Okay, so because you're a moving company, all of the costumes here are made out of moving boxes. We have some lovely examples. First up here is this Rubik's Cube. Tell us about this.
Well, the model is my grandson, Parker. And this is one of our medium-sized moving boxes. And then we've just got different colors of the foam core cut out into the cubes. They did black construction paper on the box. Trace a circle on the top for the arms and the head, and you're ready to go.
I mean, this looks so simple, and like it doesn't take a ton of time to put together, too.
No, it wasn't too bad, and with that one, there's still room. If it's cold, you can still put on a jacket underneath.
Totally.
And be ready for the elements.
That's a good little costume. All right, next up, we have a washing machine here. This is incredible. We got a stacked situation, a washer and a dryer. Tell us about this costume.
So he's actually a driver for us. This is Grady, and he is in a stacked washer and dryer. So we sell wardrobe boxes that are actually this size, and so just wrapped in black paper, cut out some circles, a little bit of cardboard, a little bit of spray paint, and of course you know you're going to have an extra and empty laundry or
in the dryer
sheets, and you're ready to go.
Oh my God! Now, is it okay if people just start throwing clothes in you there when you're trick-or-treating wearing that? throw some laundry in the washing machine. But I love this. Yeah, look at this. It has the little window that opens and closes. That is a really fun one. Okay. Next up, this is kind of like, I feel like the centerpiece.
We saved the best for last.
The star of the show. So you can be a moving truck. Check this out. Tell us about this one.
Well, this is actually based off of one of our trucks. So, I mean, that kind of says it all. But, yep, go ahead. Pivot a little bit so they can see all sides. This looks very similar to how our logo started, the two guys in the truck there, but this is, again, another wardrobe box and just some white paper and cut out the letters and the logo and a little bit of spray paint and some foam core, and off he goes.
What's really cool about that one, too, is you could kind of use the body of that truck to make so many different kinds of trucks, right? A fire truck or whatever else your kid wanted to be.
Absolutely. So many things. Yes, a school bus.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that's another great one. Okay, we want to bring in our models one more time. Again, we showed you the Rubik's Cube, the stacked washer and dryer, and then finally here, the two men and a truck moving box. So here are models all lined up, guys. Big smiles, big waves out there. Charlene, thank you again so much for coming in. What great ideas for busy parents who just want to make a costume out of a moving box.
Thank you so much for having us this morning. We appreciate it.
Well, a German comedian who has made a career out of poking fun at his accent and his homeland is now taking on the podcasting world with an 80s twist. Flula Borg stars in Flula Makes Five. The series, now premiering episodes for season 2, has Flula living with an American family because of pre-existing lease agreements. To take on a sitcom of the 80s and the 90s, complete with a catchy theme song, he spoke to our Paula Eben about the venture.
Well, this was a very wonderful idea by Alex Hinton, Andy Warmwell, and me. We were coming up with this idea some years ago. It's like if Alf and Mr. Belvedere were one person and lived in a basement and played techno music. That's exactly what it is.
And hijinks ensue, right?
So many drinks and so many highs.
But this year you really have, this is season 2, so people can go back and listen to season 1, get themselves caught up. Hopefully the lens cap will come off this season. Is that right?
I have demanded that the lens cap be removed. I cannot speak for how the hard drives will be delivered to our editor. So let's just hope that that also works out.
We will see. But you've got some heavy-hitting guest stars.
Absolutely. Zero baseball players, but yes, Andy Richter is there. Very wonderful man to speak of Conan. The Lawrence brothers will also be participating. Seth Green, if you know this person. Yes. I know this person. Yes, Robot Chicken fames and more.
And more. I mean, I would imagine there's got to be a Rob Lowe appearance at some point.
Listen, we are waiting. We want the entire cast of West Wing to come.
Well, the season 2 premiere is Flula's Halloween Seance. Well, they have stood the test of time, and now a Ukrainian band formed in the 90s is coming out with its first English-speaking album. Okean Elzy is playing at Roadrunner this weekend. The band is hoping to rock for its built-in Ukrainian audience and appeal to an American audience with its first English album, The Lighthouse. Even better, some of the proceeds from their U.S. tour goes towards supplying ambulances in war-torn Ukraine.
Our goal is to buy 30 ambulances, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe it will be more. I don't know. If you know who we are, you know who we are. We don't need to say anything. But if you don't, just come and see how powerful and energizing Ukrainian music can be. And we will appreciate it not only because you just come and, kind of enjoy music, but also by coming, you support Ukraine.
Okean Elzy's new album, Lighthouse, is out now and available on streaming platforms. When we come back, a new mystery starring Cate Blanchett. We speak with the actress and the director of Disclaimer about their new series and why it will have everyone talking. Well, if you're looking for your next thriller for this spooky season, check out the new series on Apple TV. It's based on the best-selling novel Disclaimer. It follows Cate Blanchett as Catherine Ravenscroft, an acclaimed journalist who receives a novel from an unknown author and realizes she is now the main character in a story that exposes her darkest secrets. It is directed by Alfonso Cuarón. The series follows multiple narratives, bringing the viewer up to speed, but not affirming who the real victim might be. He shared what it was like to create something for the small screen.
Well, our approach, I think it was as if we were doing just a long film, and we just approach it that way. That's the only thing I know how to do. Unfortunately, I'm very limited.
Really limited.
No, limited in the sense of
gravity. I mean,
there's a certain
films.
skill about doing, like the so-called series, in the sense of the speed of the work. For instance, even at most directors go to do just one specific episode, and so they have to learn how to let go. And the directors that they are responsible for the whole show, they tend to be people that know how to work fast. I don't, because of the process that I do, that I know how to do, requires certain attention to certain details and that are time consuming.
All 7 chapters of Disclaimer are streaming now on Apple TV. Still to come on the ReMix, it was a scandal that terrified a Natick couple. Coming up, a preview of the new documentary, Whatever It Takes, a story about a husband and wife relentlessly targeted by eBay executives. Well, this weekend, a documentary about an unbelievable story involving a Natick couple will be part of the Globe Docs Film Festival. Director Jenny Karchman is behind Whatever It Takes. It's a film about Ina and David Steiner of Natick. Back in 2019, the husband and wife journalists were targeted by eBay over their coverage, facing threats, disturbing deliveries in the mail, and stalking. The director says this is a story that needed to be told.
With enough money and enough resources, these people were assuming that they could get away with all of this. There's enough, behind them that they could do it and it would be fine. You've got top cover and we'll manage any fallout. There's that kind of mentality. But they didn't get away with it. They were caught. So the very thing that they were trying to prevent, either reputational harm or security concerns or whatever it was, they ended up doing to themselves.
Whatever It Takes will be shown at the Brattle Theatre in Cambridge this weekend. Thank you for joining us on the ReMix. We'll be back next week for more lifestyle, community, and entertainment news.